Turn your mic on.
I knew that. The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. Copy of same was posted on the bulletin board.
Mic on, Mike.
I'll start again. The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting, and a copy of the same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Would you please turn off all electronic equipment? We will stand for the flag salute. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tom, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Blumberg?
Here.
We will go right to the second item, Little League lease. Mr. Blumberg, did you want to discuss that?
Yes, I did. First of all, I want to thank all the members of the Little League that are here in attendance for coming out. I want to say that I want to personally thank Mr. Gallagher and Solicitor Abbott, along with Rich and all the people that were involved in revising this lease. There were some questions that came up a while back, and Scott has done some work to try and refine this lease, and I will turn it over to him. But again, thanks for all the hard work that's been put into this.
Thank you, Commissioner Blumberg. First, let me also echo the appreciation to T. Gallagher and the other members of the Margate Little League with their cooperative spirit and attitude. First, let's understand what we're trying to do here. Green Acres had notified us last spring that they felt the existing lease agreement between the City of Margate and the Little League was illegal. They felt that it should be changed or modified, and it was a good-spirited request. This isn't like we're going to war with Green Acres. We basically share the same goals and objectives. What we have done is we've attempted to address all of the concerns of Green Acres, but first we had to have the Little League and the City of Margate agree to the terms. Now, I think this is a very important point that may have gotten lost in some of the discussions. The Little League spent well over $300,000 of its own money, and money that it raised, not from the City of Margate, not from Green Acres, to build the structure that we refer to as the batting cage, which is a roughly 50 by 82 square foot batting cage. And I have discovered and found as I got into this, how many schools and organizations have open access to that. Yes, they do pay a small amount of money to use it to help for its maintenance, but it is open to the public. And I think there may have been a misconception that perhaps it wasn't, but most certainly has been and always will be open to the public. What we've done is we've attempted to address, as I said, the Green Acres concerns, but we have to also recognize that the lease the city signed back a number of years ago with the Little League had the blessing of the then governing body of Margate, had the blessing of the city solicitor, and was a result of the efforts of the Little League people to raise the money and build this structure. As I said before, it's well over $300,000, which they are currently paying off and still have a debt of approximately $50,000 where the local bank, Ocean City Bank, was kind enough to give them a loan. And they've been timely making the reduction. My point is this. We now have to take this lease, if the governing body agrees, and take it to Green Acres. We're not done yet. Green Acres still has to approve the terms of this lease. And I think they're fair, and I believe that the Little League people have been very cooperative. And originally they had a 75-year lease. This lease will now be under 25 years. That will give them time to recoup their investment, the monies, the capital outlay that they put, and also to allow the use of their organization, limited use of the field. It's not exclusive. Other organizations can use the fields as well. And again, I want to thank the efforts of the Little League people to work with us, not against us. We're all working as a team to get this accomplished. If you, the governing body, agree, I will forward this to Green Acres, and we will go to the next step in the process to have a lease agreeable with the state.
Do we need to take formal action, Scott?
Well, I think if you can give me an informal approval, if the two of you agree. I see Commissioner Talby's not here.
I'm fine.
You're fine with it?
Yep, good by me.
And Commissioner Talby had indicated to me by email as well that I think she was fine with it too. So that's good, we're moving forward.
And I just want to say for the record, I understand that the Little League is happy with the terms that are outlined in this lease.
I don't know, but if they're not, we're sure going to hear about it.
Okay. I would just like to, comment. I want to thank everybody that, sat at the table and once again proved my axiom that reasonable people can have differences and still sit at the table and work out an agreement. And to all of Little League, to you, Scott, and everybody, thank you very much. Mr. Deeney.
Yes, sir.
Terms and conditions. Are you ready for that, Rich?
Did you want to let the Little League people comment here?
Yeah, if they want to. If there's anybody from the Little League that
Does
wants
Little
to
League
speak.
want to address the board at all? So, I know you'd rather stay for our 2.5, 3-hour sessions, but...
Hi, T. Gallagher, board member of Margate Little League. I do want to thank Scott and everybody at the city. Rich was involved in the beginning for helping to get this done. I just want to clarify something and add to what Scott said. We started this project 10 years ago in the sense of trying to raise money for, at some point in the future, being able to try to build this facility so that the kids in our program could have access to it. And that kind of evolved. And then we actually started construction, I think, in 2008. And we started the actual design of it, plans, fundraising, and building of it prior to Green Acres being involved in that complex and the city getting access to that money. This cage was complete. Now, the lease wasn't executed until just after the city collected the money from Green Acres for that facility. So the letter that was sent from Green Acres there are many factual misstatements in it, but we did not feel like it was best for us or the city or for anybody to fight this. We just felt it was best to just, okay, let's redo it so that they're happy, city's happy, we're happy. But there were a couple articles written in the paper. Commissioner Talby was involved in some of the discussion on it, and we never rebutted any of that because to me it just wasn't worth it. But there was a lot of public comment and factual misstatements about the whole process. Like Mr. Abbott said, this has been open to the public since day one. That was the intention the whole time. There's no way we could have built it and funded it and continue to fund it without having revenue from outside people, because participants in Little League do not pay to use it when they're in there using it as a team. So I just want to make sure there's some clarifications out there, and in the end, we'll just have a good lease that the DEP approves and that the city's happy with, that we're happy with, and everybody will be better off at the end. But there was definitely some factual misstatements that have been put out there that I would just like everybody to know that, that did happen. Okay? Thank you very much. Again, Scott did a great job on this.
Thank you, T.
Worked a lot. And,
T, bottom line is that the organization's happy with the lease, and we
Yeah.
can move on to send it up to Green Acres. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
good.
And
Thank you
hopefully
very
Green
much.
Acres will approve it, and we'll just come back and we'll be done with it.
Thank you very
Okay?
much.
I appreciate everybody's help in this. Thank you.
Anybody else from Little League? Thank you. Okay. Rich, sorry.
It's hard to follow that. For the best part of this year, I've been bringing to the commission reports and recommendations with regard to employee contracts. We have completed all of the negotiations with all of the organized units in the city of Margate, and they're all under contract now for the years 2013, 14, and 15. What we have yet to do, and we'll do some of it tonight, is deal with the employees that are not organized and not part of a formal unit recognized by the state for labor negotiations. I have, in each of the other occasions, read a statement so that it would be clear for the public record And rather than just speak to it, I'm going to read this short statement. Commissioners, I am pleased to advise you that I have completed discussions with 4 representatives of a large group of unrepresented employees whose terms and conditions of employment have heretofore been defined in various documents. We have divided this group into 3 subgroups: management/professional, other than full-time, and then other. I have enlisted the management professional employees into a collaborative process of dealing with compensation issues for the city at large. Like labor negotiations with represented groups, I have sought to increase the number of hours worked each year by existing and future employees. A resolution before you tonight provides for new terms of employment for management professional employees, in which the 17 affected employees will receive a total of 40 less days of vacation for each of the 2 years, 2013 and 2014. For each of these 2 years, this equates to more than a quarter of a man-year of new productivity and begins to model a desirable objective for future labor negotiations. Likewise, we have agreed to recommend a cap on longevity payments for all new employees considered management after December 31st, 2012. Salary increases for these 17 employees will be 3% for both 13 and 14. There will be no agreement beyond 2014. I will be asking each to make up this increase in departmental savings in the 2014 budget. The 7 employees considered other are addressed in a separate resolution entitled Terms and Conditions of Employment for Non-Organized and Non-Management Employees. Frankly, most, if not all, of these employee titles should, I believe, be in the MCEA contract document. I am recommending that, like previously, their compensation and benefits mirror that of the MCEA for 2013, 14, and 15. We will work toward a solution in 2014 regarding their potential affiliation with the Margate Employees Association. When these resolutions are adopted, I will, with assistance from departmental managers, make recommendations regarding the part-time personnel. That should happen quickly. It is expected that before the year is completed, we will have addressed all of the major employment compensation issues to date and through at least 2014. These employment compensation matters are listed on both of the 2 agendas tonight, and I would like to be able to move forward so we can process back pay, address the part-time employees, and begin to prepare for 2014. I've discussed this matter with each of the commissioners, and I would recommend highly that you consider favorably these resolutions at the 5 o'clock meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Once again, Rich, a great job, and to all those people involved, the same for the cooperation and hard work that they exhibited. I'd like to go back to some breaking news. Item 1 under discussion was questions about the Dune project. Commissioner Blumberg and I have decided not to address that today in light of the fact that we just got an email within the last half hour. The governor has released a press release today. We would have to digest this, and we'd get back to you. I do have 3 or 4 extra copies. If anybody wants them, I'll put them on the table between meetings. Okay. We'll go now to department reports. Ed, you want to start?
Okay. First item that we have are the water tank painting at Gladstone Avenue. We have a bid opening scheduled for November 14th for that project. Prior to that time, we're going to have a meeting with the representatives of the school and some of the bidders, just so that we can discuss what will go on adjacent to the school during the painting, so everyone's on board with what's happening. The 2013 road program is under survey currently. If you see my surveyors, they're out there at various locations. Firehouse number 2, the emergency generator, There's a pre-construction meeting that's being scheduled for the 23rd at 11 a.m. to make sure everyone's on board with what's going on out there. The emergency bulkhead repairs at Kenyon and Lancaster, there's a couple punch list items out there that still need to be done, including the scupper. So there's some bolts missing, but contractor's been notified. The Benson Avenue water tank, the painting system that was installed 2 years ago, I guess it was, is failing. Contractor's been notified. They have to come out and correct the system. So we're trying to get that scheduled. As far as the beach, the stair replacement, that's all complete with the exception of Kenyon. We had held Kenyon off until the concrete work was done there. The stairs there are about 50% complete. The 2012 road program, currently North Douglas Beach Block, the Douglas Avenue Beach Block, water main, sewer main is complete. The Essex Avenue Beach Block, water main and sewer main is complete, and the services are underway. And Firehouse, we talked about Firehouse number 2. Now, at the police station recently, we had a catastrophic failure of the emergency generator. It was the evening that we had power outage in part of the town. I don't remember which, it was like, was the end of last week, whatever. I went and inspected the generator. Forkett River came down immediately. That's who does our routine, our maintenance on those generators for all the town. I met out there with the gentleman. Essentially, the generator portion of the unit of the whole generator system melted. It just fried. The unit was installed 10 years ago, so it's nearing at the end of its useful life. In addition, the unit is used more heavily than normal. Because what happens whenever there's the potential for a power outage, the unit's fired up so that there's no loss in emergency dispatch service. The rough estimate that was given to me to just replace the generator portion was $40,000. To redo the entire unit is, again, it was a rough estimate between $75,000 and $80,000. Given the fact this is the second time that this unit has failed us, it's at the end of its useful life. It's my recommendation that we, and I've written a letter declaring an emergency, that we should do a resolution declaring an emergency to proceed with receiving quotes to replace this generator. It is a critical facility. We currently have a backup temporary portable generator there, and as the clock ticks, so does the cost. So the sooner we do this, the better.
Ed, who has the financial information on that? Because we should, if it's okay, declare an emergency tonight, ask Lisa and Rich about the funding of it, and it should go on. I mean, are we paying for a rental now?
Right now, we're probably about almost $6,000 into the cost of a rental.
Daily, I assume it's a daily or weekly rate of pay? Or
Yes.
a cost?
Monthly?
We need to get something on tonight, declaring the emergency.
If we could get something on tonight, then I can proceed with requesting at least 2 quotes to replace it essentially in kind, but with the newest technology.
Are you okay with that? Yeah. Okay, we're fine with that, Ed.
Okay.
Tom, you'll get that on as
Yes.
209? I guess.
Yeah. Yes, I just want to ask Rich and Lisa, do we just want to say generically an emergency exists, but not get into how you want to fund it, whether it's an emergency appropriation or anything like that?
Yeah, we're hoping not to have to do an emergency. We talked briefly about it before the meeting here, and we're hoping we can shift dollars around from other ordinances.
That's all I want to know. So we'll just do an emergency declaring the emergency tonight.
Yes.
And we have to acknowledge the cost of the rental.
Yes. Also, just so everyone's aware, our insurance carrier was immediately notified. There was an adjuster on site today at 10 o'clock to evaluate the generator to give us an estimate of what their reimbursement will be.
Anything else, Ed? Okay, you got
The
the,
only other thing, not to discuss the dunes, but I was contacted by the Army Corps, or by the DEP, and they requested several available days for me to meet with them next week just to discuss various technical issues. So I gave them a list, and I'm waiting for them to get back to me.
okay, good. Thank you, Ed. Chief DeVasso.
Everything's good in the fire department, Mayor. I just would like to add, we had a great fire prevention week despite the weather last week, and we've been making up some of those rainouts this week, so everything went great. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Frank?
Last Saturday, we had a paper shredding at the Public Works Yard. We have it every year in October, and this year we did 1.5 tons, a half a ton more than we did last year. So it's growing. The project's growing. This Saturday's Clean Ocean Action. We're going to have a beach sweep at Granville Avenue, ramp at 8:30 in the morning till about around noon. We've been very busy getting our trucks ready for the winter, putting salt spreaders on and things like that, so we're prepared. We also been winterizing all our irrigation systems, turned the fountains off, and we got hit with a storm this week, and there was considerable beach erosion, but you can actually see the sand out past the breakers. There's some sloughs on the beach that weren't there before, some rocks that are showing, but I believe in a few weeks or a month, the sand will be back. That's all we have.
Thank you, Frank. Lisa?
Okay, I did an analysis of our funding received year-to-date on the claims regarding Hurricane Sandy, of everything we've received from FEMA, the GIF, and our flood policy. And as of September 30th, our year-to-date FEMA proceeds are $1,014,997.95. From the GIF, we received $224,018.18. And from Harleysville, who insures our flood, through our flood policy, is $289,894.83. So the analysis, I have a copy for each of you. If you have any questions, let me know. There's a representative from WIT, which is an agency contracted by the state to assist municipalities with their FEMA projects and obtaining the funding. I met with her last week. She's coming back tomorrow to help me sort through all the documentation so that we could keep the process moving along. In addition to that, she's going to be meeting with Rich, Ed, myself, and Dave Miller to get up to speed as to what the projects are and what modifications need to be made. Also, yesterday, our auditor was in doing the audit of the beach tag inventory. Out of 47,600 tags that were purchased, we sold 43,566, and there was a discrepancy of 3 tags total, which is right on target, so there isn't any problems there, and everything is proceeding correctly. Other than that, I have nothing else to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Rich, do you have anything?
I have no additional.
Scott?
Mayor, a couple of things. Do we want to touch base on the Verizon wireless bid? Tom, is that something you're ready to address, or you want me, or how do you want to do that?
I'll start, but you're going to have to...
Okay.
We had we went out for bid a few months back for the cellular antenna. It brings in revenue to the city, allowing by way of a bid, to have cellular companies put antennas on the water towers. Went out to bid. There was a couple addendums to the bid prior to them coming in. There was one bidder. There was a question about a technical and an immaterial deficiency on one of the addendums. We ended up rejecting the bids and then authorizing to go out to bid again. And in between that time and now, after discussions with the engineer, Ed Wahlberg, with Scott, myself as purchasing agent, we determined that deficiency was immaterial. It had no impact on the outcome of the bid. There was no detriment to any other bidders, and the recommendation is to therefore award the bid as originally was going to be done. with your approval. Scott, I don't know if I missed anything.
Tom, I think you covered it pretty well, and the fact is, what the game plan here is, they're paying the city money. So every month that we delay, we lose rental income. They want to put their antenna up on one of our towers, additional antenna. So we've looked at this pretty long and hard. It did not amount to a major defect. Eddie, would you concur with that?
That's correct. We, after reviewing it several times, the net effect here is the dollar value stays the same, the terms stay the same. It was a paperwork issue, so there should be
On the
no...
lease, in the terms of the lease. So
Yeah.
with my advice and everybody's concurrence, we'd like to go forward, accept that bid, so we can get that much closer to accepting the monthly rental from Verizon and have better phone service.
And just so everyone knows, it's 31,000, somewhere in that per year of rental that we will receive for these antennas.
The initial term, yes, that's right.
35?
Is that a 5-year term?
It's a 5-year with a renew.
5, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
Renew. All right. Mayor, in addition to that now, I know we've talked about this a number of times. We have a parcel of land at the end of Rumson and the beach. It's 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet wide by 80 feet. The individual who owns 114 South Rumson, through his lawyer, Mr. Bailson, wants to purchase this land. And what we've been trying to work out, and we're very close to finalizing it, is we want the bulkhead that's along the beach there, 80 feet, replaced, plus the bulkhead perpendicular to the ocean that runs out, plus the street end of Rumson Avenue. This amounts to about 230 feet minus an access area. Eddie has given us a price, our city engineer has given us a price. We're looking at between $1,000 to $1,250 per linear foot. The land now has sat there and basically been utilized, whoever it is that has owned that upland area. It's a gap between a bulkhead, which I understand the Army Corps built after the March storm, was it, Frank, in '62? And they didn't follow the property line correctly. One of the issues we were most concerned about was that on our Green Acres list. It is not. If you go to the website, you'll see one thing, but if you go to the actual signed agreement with Green Acres, it's only part of it, and the part was the area beachward of the bulkhead. So we don't have a Green Acres problem with this. So this being the case, and the upland contiguous owner, he's the only contiguous owner, I think we're at a point now where we can actually move forward. We have to do this by ordinance. I hope to have the ordinance done for our next meeting, if you concur. And I have I gave you the letter today so that you could see what I'm talking about with the Green Acres list. The statutory provision that I intend to use, this will be a private sale. There's only one buyer who could possibly use it. It gets merged in with his parcel, this narrow strip of land. Statutory authorization for it's attached to my letter. Do you have any questions?
It's your recommendation that we move
My
forward?
recommendation is yes, do it.
I'm good with that. Marty?
Yep, good by me.
Yeah, I think this is a real good one for the city. It's over $200,000 in bulkhead improvements, and it'll straighten out that one street end for us.
Good job. Anything else, Scott?
I don't think, is there anything else I need to go over?
Okay. Tom,
Tom, anything else? We're all good?
I think,
Okay, I'm good.
do you have anything, Tom?
yeah, one or two things. The added assessment bills went out. They came in the last couple of weeks, were put out this past week or so by the staff, did a good job getting them out. We did receive a report that was sent to, from our tax assessor, Andy Benerick, sent to Commissioner Blumberg, Rich, Lisa, and myself, basically stating that we added assessments for 2000, you guys give me a break, will you? 2013, total $30 million. The effect on that for Margate, because not all the revenue coming in on that $30 million goes to Margate, some goes to the county and to school, but to Margate, the effect for us economically is about $150,000. As you know, that goes towards our budget. It'll help for next year's budget, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that this is now there has not been a year where we've had either a flat or a decline in rateable growth in Margate over the last at least 10 years, I know, but even longer than that. And I think during the economy, a recession, hurricane, a lot of towns have seen either decreases or flat rateable, and I think that's a compliment and a testament to Margate as a whole. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tom. Roger?
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Jim?
You couldn't follow me.
As of October 1st, the flood insurance went up for a lot of people in town. I'm sure you saw a policy increase. If you could bring your policy over to me, if you feel it's higher than usual, we can look at your property and see if there's something we can do to get you guys a lower rate. There is avenues available out there that you can participate in to help you alleviate your high in flood insurance. So if you want to, bring me your property address and make an appointment. Maybe I can help you out. That's all I got, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Maureen?
Nope, Ms. McCourt's good.
Mayor, I just have one more question I wanted to
Sure,
ask.
go ahead.
Ed, it was, someone mentioned, back to the generator, is that currently diesel at the police?
The generator currently is a diesel generator, yes.
Okay, now, maybe I missed it, but is there an option to go natural gas, or is that too... That was raised as a very positive thing if we could do it.
Well, there's two issues. We're right at the point, actually a little over, where you can conveniently go from natural gas, from diesel to natural gas. The natural gas will add 20 to 30% to the costs going to natural gas. So we have to evaluate, you know, whether it's feasible. I mean, it is feasible whether it's something we want to do. There is also the issue of the potential of natural gas during a catastrophic emergency, the natural gas being cut off at, you know, for the island. So I'm a fan of natural gas generators,
I
but
just want to make sure that the commissioners had all their options available for everything, that's all.
but we're looking at that.
You okay with that?
Thank you.
Okay. Maureen, you have anything?
Yeah, I have two things. Okay, so my first thing is, as everybody is aware, we have an election coming up in November, and on the ballot is a referendum question related to the dunes. And my hope is that the governor is not going to trump our democratic right to vote and weigh in, Margate citizens weigh in on the issue of the dunes. And if he is going to try and trump our right to vote, our democratic rights, then I believe as a city and as a commission, we should strongly and legally object. I think it would be terrible if we didn't, if we just stood by idly and allowed him to enforce his will on the residents of Margate. And I think we owe that as a commission, that we need to get together. If it is our interpretation that that's what he's trying to do, then we need to get on record sooner than later with a legal objection. And so that's what I have on the dunes. The second is we got a subsequent letter from the Holy Trinity Church, Blessed Sacrament, as we know it. They're looking to try and, I believe, sell a portion of their property that they are no longer using. And in that regard, it seems that it's zoned unfavorable and arbitrary. That's my opinion. But what I would like to do is, as we are in receipt of this request from them, refer it, Mike, if you're okay, to the planning board and let the planning board and our solicitor render an opinion on that. Scott, do you have any, I know you're aware of this, am I right in?
Can I just say something?
Yeah, please.
I think you're absolutely right, and there's a history in this case. They have before asked us in the same way, and at that time, we referred them to the planning board. The planning board didn't hear it, and I think to be consistent, and I think it's the right thing to do, that we should send it to planning. I don't think it's our decision.
Right, but the planning board, if we formally request the planning board to hear the case, they can then make a recommendation back to us Is that correct,
It's not
Scott?
a case, Maury, it's just a matter of if they're going to make a recommendation. I think what you're saying is, last time there was no recommendation. This time, make a recommendation, whether they say no or make the recommendation to the board, one way or another.
Okay.
I think
Do we legally have the option to do that, Scott, or?
Yes,
Roger?
Mayor. There's several ways it could be done. One way would be for this body, the governing body, to direct the planning board to make a recommendation and send it down to them, let them study it. The issue is the zoning designation requires, it's an S60 for these lots that would be created where the school was. They tear down the school and they have these lots, they want them to be residential lots. But the property surrounding it that's used residentially is S40, which is a much smaller lot. So their position is, hey, this lot size is not realistic. The lot size where the old school is the same as the parkway. And it doesn't match up with the use of the type of size lots that are adjacent to it, and indeed on the same block. Yes, one of the ways you can do it, send it down to the planning board.
Okay, cool.
I think that's the way to go.
Okay, so do we, just to close the loop, by this discussion and this action, we are asking the planning board to review that case?
You can do it one of two ways. You
Okay.
could request their input, or you could devise your own ordinance saying, we want to change this, and send that down to the planning board. I think the first is probably the better way to go. Let
Okay,
them-
what do we have to do, Scott, to get it to the planning board? Do we need a resolution?
Well, I think
or-
maybe officially, should it be a resolution, Tom, or do you want just a letter from them, or?
Typically, it has been done by either a motion or a resolution.
Okay, so just a motion would mean not really a resolution, but if a majority of this governing body says, we want the planning board, contact them, I can do it, the city clerk can do it.
Do we
Is
need
Roger here tonight?
Do we need to do that at a regular meeting time, or can we do it here at the work meeting?
Do it right here.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we refer the Holy Trinity case to the planning board for a recommendation related to
I
the 60/40 zone.
What's a motion? You know what, Scott, how about if we, just to be very clear, we do it as a resolution at the second meeting, that way there's no...
That would be fine. I don't have a resolution drafted, but if you guys are in accord,
Okay.
we'll do it that
Okay.
way.
Will that resolution be tonight?
Pardon me?
If
Yes.
that resolution is tonight, we could put it on the October agenda.
All right.
If it's not, all right? You're going to do it
Okay
tonight?
with you guys? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool. I'm okay.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have. That's all I have.
I have nothing today. We'll open for public comment. You have 3 minutes on anything that was discussed here today.
Mayor, right before you do that, I do
Hold
feel
on one
obligated. I know Commissioner Talby had been in contact with me, and emails were going around, where she was trying to establish a date, possibly for the DEP and the Army Corps to come down once again and describe the project and the merits of the project. I'm not really sure where that stands. I thought it was going to possibly be October 30. I see that Commissioner Talby's not here tonight. I kind of feel obligated to not remain silent. I know that she was trying to do this. I'm not sure where it stands, but of course, if the Army Corps or somebody sets up a meeting for them, they go to, I assume, the auditorium at Thai School, they could certainly do that. But it wouldn't be a governing body meeting unless you guys designated and it was advertised. But I don't know if that was the intent.
I would be comfortable to get them a place if they ask for it. I don't think it should be a commission.
Okay. More comments or?
Yeah, I have no issues.
Yeah, I don't know where it stands, but I do think we should mention it, that there's a possibility
Good point.
that that's going to happen, so.
Okay.
But that's all I know at this time. Unfortunately, she's not here tonight.
Mr. Sewell.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Yes, most unfortunate, solicitor, most unfortunate. I'm grieving. But getting back to the issue which Commissioner Blumberg raised, I think this commission should act responsibly. And with over 1,000 easements necessary, you don't have to be a rocket science to figure out that this is going to end up in protracted litigation. And I would urge this commission to be ready to file an amicus brief on behalf of any of our residents in Margate who wish to protect their property rights and not have eminent domain shoved down their throat by a short-sighted governor. However, read the origin of the batting cage lease, solicitor. I hate to confuse the mayor with the facts. If it's possible to refresh his recollection, it was by my instigation and insistence. Little League had absolutely no indices of ownership, either in fee or in leasehold, solicitor. How Ocean City Savings and Loan could have issued a mortgage without either of these instruments is a total mystery to me. I would have fired the mortgage loan officer on the spot. However, as the old adage goes, be careful what you wish for. It turned out not only the joke of $1 a year lease, but was a super sweetheart deal, picking up all the heating and cooling and utility cost for this batting cage bear. And since the previous solicitor was clueless about Snyder versus the state of New Jersey, it's no surprise property concepts eluded her as well. I hope they don't elude you, solicitor. And get it on the record that it was Mr. Sewell who insisted on that cockamamie lease, much to my own regret. Thank you.
Anyone else care to address the board?
Sharon Simon, 424 North Thurlow Avenue. In regards to the meeting that you spoke about, Mr. Abbott, two members of the Margate Citizens Group questioning the beach project did get emails that Commissioner Tobey had set this meeting up for October 30th at the PAC. We have long ago, after coming to the commission and asking to educate, the mayor said the public should be educated. We created this group to educate the people. We were told by the commission we could have the opportunity to do this. And questions from the group and the public have been submitted to the commission to be forwarded to the Army Corps and the DEP to be answered. And we ask that those answers be presented at our October 29th meeting. So now it appears that Commissioner Tobey is setting up her own separate meeting about these answers the night after our meeting. And who's going to come to our meeting when we've done all this work to gather information, surveys of the public, and so on and so forth? So if the Army Corps and the DEP are coming to answer the questions that they haven't answered for years, that we presented to the commission, that Mayor Becker has said numerous times he's been trying to get these answers, it seems to me that it would make sense that they come to the meeting on the 29th to answer those questions. I think it's a little disingenuous, and I think it's trying to thwart an educational effort for the commission, Commissioner Tobey, who's definitely involved, to try to have a meeting right after ours. We spend a lot of money on advertising and ads and PowerPoints and all that. So I would like that the mayor address that. You said we should educate the public. You gave us the opportunity. So why would you then have a meeting right after ours?
Can I interrupt? You did ask me to address that.
I would love for you to address that, sir.
Now, I haven't heard anything officially. It's my understanding that Commissioner Tobey is trying to arrange a meeting with the Army Corps and the DEP here. I didn't know that it was narrowed down to one date. I thought there were a few dates that were given to the government to see what they could. So I'm not sure what you're saying is absolute.
It is, according to the emails that Vaughn Rio and Dan Gottlieb received, that it's on the 30th, strategically after our meeting, and to address the answers that we gave to the commission.
I can't answer that.
And it's at the PAC Center. Well, if you can't answer it, who's in control of what's going on here?
Sharon, if I may, if there is a meeting set up for the 30th, and it is in fact at the PAC Center, I certainly don't know anything about it.
Nor do I.
Mike doesn't know anything. I would think that if there was a meeting at the PAC, that Mike would know about it. In that regard, I want to say that I agree with you, and the meeting that's being set up is being set up, trying to be set up by Commissioner Taube, independent of Mike and myself, only in that we believe that an impartial meeting with the Corps would facilitate the answering of the questions that you folks have. In that regard, I would suggest that one meeting is the proper thing to do. And whether it's, I think you've already advertised yours.
Yes, we have.
I would implore Commissioner Taube to try and set up her meeting in conjunction with the meeting that you're having on the same night. It seems to make sense to me that all the people that are involved could be there on the same night, all the questions could be asked, and hopefully all the questions could be answered.
Certainly, if the Army Corps and DEP have some additional questions they'd like to answer for us, we'd love to have more information, but I believe we already provided quite a set of questions. So, Mayor Becker, if you could please, look into that, because we have received emails saying that it is a set deal at the PAC, October 30th.
Mike, would you
And Dr. Farrell was
I have
coming
no
as well.
objection.
Would you-
I have no
I was gonna
objection.
ask.
I don't know who that email that you say was going around is from.
Brenda Taube.
Pardon me?
Commissioner Taube. Brenda
from-
Taube.
Okay.
It's from her. How about if I forward you a copy?
No, that's okay. I did not get a copy of that, but I don't get a copy of a lot of things. I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you that this whole thing started because I said that I thought that if there were another meeting and had nothing to do with your meeting, that if the Corps of Engineers and the DEP requested a meeting site, we would provide it for them, just as we did last week for the governor's cabinet, and that it should not be a commission meeting. So, I don't know, maybe
They
this...
didn't request it. Commissioner Taube requested it.
Well, whatever, if they agreed to come here, whatever. I'm just
Let's
saying,
coordinate and
I'm
have
saying
one
what
night.
I said, not what Commissioner Taube
Right.
said.
Well, we should have one night. Let's not drive our
Okay, so we're all in
voters
agreement to try
crazy.
and see, but we...
Coordinate. Coordination's a beautiful thing, getting along, reasonable people coming together. That's what you say anyway.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ann Pancase, 200 North Osborne Avenue. Ed, I'm a little confused about one thing. During Sandy, were any of the bulkheads affected? I thought that Kenyon, we had to put a new bulkhead up. Is that true?
There were, several bulkheads were affected. Kenyon Avenue and Lancaster Avenue both received major damage. And then there was minor damage to many of the other bulkheads.
Okay, so there was actually one and partially another bulkhead that was affected?
Well, no,
When you
all the-
gave your report, you said that I thought that the Kenyon Avenue bulkhead was destroyed.
Yes.
And I went down and I was watching them put it back together, I
Right.
guess. And then you mentioned in another meeting that there was a partial damage to another bulkhead. Is that right?
Lancaster and Kenyon had to be replaced. Okay? Osborne, there's a dozen other ones that have damage that need repairs. Sumner Avenue needed some repairs. Rumson needed major repairs. Osborne Avenue has a big chunk out of it. There are several other bulkheads that were damaged.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay?
Stephen Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. Referencing department head reports, I assume that the flushing of the water pipes in Margate has happened? And I didn't notice any sediment during that time in my home. Was that just a lucky thing, or should there have been some sort of sediment?
Obviously, it's working because you didn't have any sediment. If we flush twice a year, required by the state, and it works. That's why you're not getting sediment. Some people will, but, most people won't.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner. I've been trying to help the commission and citizens of Margate with regard to this dune issue, and evidently I haven't gotten through. The governor, there's going to be a dune to Margate, okay? That's just going to be a fact. The governor is the most powerful governor in the state. He has the power to do this, and he wants it, and it's going to be done, okay? We're all going to live to see that, okay? Now, you can either accept it, or you can continue to fight, which you probably will. But I'm trying to save you a lot of effort. Now, I heard Mr. Sewell last week, 2 weeks ago, suggested this could be taken to the Supreme Court, which I think is a great idea, John. Anytime. Do you have any idea the cost, what that cost would be?
Scott will do it pro bono.
Pro bono, yeah. I would say you could start at maybe $250,000 on up, and the Supreme Court would not even take the case, okay? So you could just take that money in. In fact, if you don't have much money to burn, just come over to 103 North Sumner Avenue and stick it in my mailbox, okay? Because that's as much good as it's going to do. Either that or throw it in the middle of the street, okay? Either one. But let me put your mind at ease. There's going to be a dune, and if you read that, if you want to have a referendum, fine, have a referendum. It's non-binding, it means nothing. I don't really care whether the citizens vote or not. It means nothing anyhow. So have the referendum, regardless of how it comes out, there's going to be a dune, okay? It says, the governor's his statement, whatever it was called, you read that, his decree. Okay? No municipality is going to interfere with this. Okay? To me, is very clear. We can continue with discussion, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. This time next year, we're going to be looking at a very nice dune and a very nice beach replenishment. So that's just the way it's going to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say, I sit here, and it's discouraging to me to hear you so freely give up your democratic right and the right that you have fought for meeting after meeting after meeting, and the right that people in the United States have fought for, and the right that we have to go to the polls and vote, and you're willing to willy-nilly freely give it up. It's very discouraging. Not only that, I find it horribly hypocritical of you.
Well, I might as well answer that. It's a meaningless vote in any case. So, and in fact, unfortunately, a lot of our right to vote is meaningless. But be that as it may, well, let's vote. But it's non-binding anyhow. So what difference does it make? Explain me that. Riddle me that, Batman.
Thank you, Steve. You ready to respond?
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's non-binding. November 5th. Everybody vote, please. Anyone else? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
I will make a motion to
Adjourn.
end this meeting.
I'll second it.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
We will take a very short break and do a regular meeting.